Welcome to Food All You Never Wanted to Know. Today we're going to do some potting up. So here I already put one of the basils in this pot. It's really better to do several herbs in the same pot, but what these were, let me stick that down. These were clippings off of another bush. So when I started these, they were actually very, very sparse. There was almost no vegetation on here, no leaves. They were really little, but they have grown nicely. So I'm gonna put this one in with its buddy. You go straight down, because what I've got here is an excellent root system if it's anywhere near like the other one. Look at this root system. Isn't that gorgeous? So the trick is you want to get as much of this down in the soil as possible. And you get it in there and you give it a push. So I cover it up with more soil. Be sure to pack it down nicely. This soil is already disinfected. I boiled it in these pans, which I bought at a restaurant supply company. These are dish pans, so they won't melt if I put some hot water.
Now, when you say you boiled the soil in those pans, what do you mean?
I do have a video on that, which you can look at. Basically, I poured boiling water, hot boiling water, into the dry potting mix that I had already mixed together. This is nice and light. It has cour in, C-O-U-R, core in there, and it has vermiculite, has some organic potting soil. But I have a problem with fungus gnats coming out of the potting soil, and this is one method that I've heard about, so I tried it. It seems to be helping. So this one's all done. I'm going to set that aside for the moment. Then we're going to move on to our cute little glacier tomato plants. I started them on December 1st. This is late December, the last week of December.
You started them from seed?
I started them from seed. Right. Kind of a funny thing to do in the middle of the winter. I know. But we shall see how this goes. So the way I pot these up, I put my fingers between the plants very gently, turn it upside down. You poke a hole in the bottom of these cups when you first plant the seeds. See how all those roots are beautiful? And I very gently, I don't bother with the stems, I don't bother the plants. I grab the soil, the root ball, and gently pull. They generally will come gently apart. See that? So I have three distinct root balls. Then I come over here to the soil. I just put maybe a half a cup like that sideways. I take one of these plants and I put the roots all the way to the bottom and as deeply as I can get into the little pot, which is a cup. This is a 12-ounce cup. And then I fill it in. Can you see this? I fill it in with more soil. And you need to hold the plant so you don't push it down too far when you're packing the soil gently around the roots and add extra soil. When I have a whole ton to pot up, I do this very, very quickly. I could have potted these up maybe a week ago, but it was Christmas. I was busy. So that's what that looks like. Remember to always label your pots, always poke holes in the bottom so it doesn't get waterlogged. This is a glacier. The seeds were seeded December 1st. TG is Tomato Growers. I got these seeds from Tomato Growers. I will finish those in a few minutes. I'm going to move on though. As you can see, I've already potted up one of the two bigger tomatoes that we had. These were pink bumblebees that were in the greenhouse, and I just simply took a couple of suckers, put them in water, and let them root. It took weeks to root. I wasn't sure they were going to do it, but they made roots all along the stem that was in the water, and they've been growing in these half-gallon milk containers. Orange juice. This is orange juice. Anyway, I really should have potted those up again a week or two ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. So, but it'll be fine because tomatoes are very, very energetic about growing roots. Now, before I do that, I'm going to take, this is a little messed up, but it's okay. I'll rinse this out. This, I don't know if I would call this a sucker or not, because typically a sucker grows between two branches, the main stem and a branch, a side branch. But I don't want this here because it's just going to be buried. I'm going to clip that off. I'm going to clip off all the lower branches. All the lower branches. I'm only going to leave a little teeny bit. And if you can see, there are little flower buds starting. It's not going to help to have any flowers turning into fruit at this stage. So I'm going to put this in the water. It's a little too much. I'm going to put that in a smaller glass of water in a little bit. But because I've got you watching, I need to zippity-doo-dah a little bit here. So I'm going to move this one off. I'm going to put, these are 5-gallon buckets. You can get them anywhere. And you should either poke holes on the bottom or the sides a few inches up. Do this if you're certain you're not going to waterlog the soil, okay?
Yeah, and the holes in the bottom will let the water drain right out.
Right.
The holes in the side will retain a little bit of water. So if you
Yes.
forget to water it, maybe there's some water in there for the plant to get.
Yeah, well, we have a friend who told me about this and said that I should try it because sometimes, you know, we might go away for a week to go visit our kids in another state. When that happens, I'm not going to be watering. So we tried this last year and it was okay. It worked. So we have this plant. It has way too many lower branches. So I'm going to be clipping off all the lower branches, maybe up to there. I would really like it in the soil up to here. We'll see what's going to happen. It looks like I'm killing it, but I'm not. Tomato plants are amazing. It will form roots all along this branch, the stem, all along. It's really, really wonderful. Now, because I let it go so long, it is tricky.
Now, you dug a hole in here, right?
Right, I filled this and I dug a hole clear to the bottom of the 5-gallon pot, which is a bucket. So anyway, and then the same as with the little ones, I put my hand on the soil and I mess with it.
And you hold the stem between your fingers.
The stem is between my fingers. Sometimes it's harder than others to get this out. It's beginning to come. Look at this gorgeous, gorgeous root ball. A tomato plant root will fill whatever size pot you give it. If I had given this a little teeny pot, it wouldn't have grown this massive plant. It would have stayed small. So I hold it compactly and I put it in the bottom. Can you see the bottom? I push it down as far as it can go. I might not cover as much as I wanted, but this will what we'll have to do, gonna get it a little closer to where I'm getting the soil from over here. Again, these are pink bumblebees. They were spectacular in the hoop house. And I thought because they're cherry tomatoes, maybe it's something that I could grow in the house and actually get something out of. I don't have grow lights going. I didn't quite figure out how to do that, and they are a little bit expensive. So, since we have a south-facing window, it's a sliding glass window for the outside on the deck. A couple years ago, we started to do this, and the only trouble we've had is when we get fungus gnats or white flies. So we've been working a little bit more. As you do it, you need to pack the soil down, not totally packed, not like clay. This is not clay. It would never be like clay. But you want it, let's see if I can get, there we go. You want it to get firm, very firm in there around the roots and the stem, because that will help solidify it in the pot. Now you may wonder, what about staking? Are you going to stake this? Yes. We'll definitely be putting stakes in. First, I want to put it next to the window for the next few days. I'm going to put it next to the window, aiming this way towards the sun, and it will gradually raise itself up, and at that point we'll put stakes. Now, because this is in the house, I don't want it to go totally crazy, super tall, so I might let it get 3 feet tall, possibly above this pot, and I'll probably start clipping so it will be bushy. This is an indeterminate kind of tomato, so it will continue to grow and grow and grow. And that's, one thing I want to do before I bring those back in the house. I've looked them over really well. I did see just a couple bugs, but this is the organic, it's an oil that kills bugs, basically. And I'm gonna spray this. Hopefully I won't spray the camera as I do this. Okay, you spray both sides of the leaves. This organic oil spray will suffocate any insects, soft-bodied insects such as aphids, white flies, and what was the other one?
Fungus gnats.
Fungus gnats. Okay, now see this? This is a little sucker that's starting to grow. For now, I'm going to get rid of that. And if you notice too, there are some flower buds. I don't think it'll help at this point to let it go to fruit. So I got those off. This was fun. This is an anomaly here. We had a nice sunny day.
I'm noticing on the back side of the stem here, there are little places where roots are going to try to come out.
Yep. They'll probably,
and that was all the way along.
Right. They'll give up after a while. Only the ones that were on the stem under the ground will continue to grow. But honestly, tomatoes are amazing plants. They really are. Very resilient. It's hard to kill them unless they get diseased. Unless something comes and chews them down, even if that has happened to me before, that something has chewed it down or the plant has broken off. And those little tomato plants, they grew from the base and they regrew. It was amazing. It really is. So
now tomatoes are also temperature sensitive.
They're a warm weather crop. Don't try to have them outside in the middle of the winter. It won't work. There are a few varieties, such as Glacier. I'll have to make a list of the ones that are slightly more cold hardy. That does not mean they're frost hardy. So you might be able to get tomatoes in mid 40-ish to 50-degree weather, whereas other tomatoes probably won't do too well.
That includes these tomatoes.
These, yes, these are warm ones. These are pink bumblebees. Now the other one that we just potted up, this one, the Glacier. Glacier is a very, very short season tomato. I think it's 55 days. I'll have to check on that. But this will take probably around 70 days, 65 to 70 days to make fruit once you pot it into where it's going to be in its final spot. Now, obviously, if this were spring, I would wait until after the frost date and I would plant it outside in the ground or in our hoop house or in some kind of covering so they don't get waterlogged if you're in an area that gets tons and tons of rain. The Glacier, I have done this inside before and did get fruit. So hopefully this will get to a bigger size really fast and we can put it in 5-gallon pots. I'm doing 2 of these and 2 of the pink bumblebees. Some of the others are going to go to a friend of ours who has a heated greenhouse, who has lots more options than we do. So this is food, all you never wanted to know. Take care. Please like, share, subscribe.